Hello. We're
Oh,
currently live, by the way,
oh, we're
guys.
live. Hello.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Into it.
I
All right,
I
jump right into
accidentally
it.
just hit go.
That's
So
okay.
we are here and we are
What?
live, and everyone on the internet can see us, every single person.
Beautiful.
Kind of just want to jump right into it.
We have people.
Absolutely.
Well, I guess let me set up this. Let me set up the comments and whatnot.
Yeah. We have Restream going too.
Yes.
Sweet.
Do you want the link, Ryan?
I think I have it.
Okay. You need
I
it
got
right now.
Restream
If you can
pulled
give it
up.
to me just in case I don't have it, that'd be good.
Well, I'll by the time that I post on to the Heroes Quarters, if you don't have it up, I will send it over.
Okay.
I'm gonna post in the Heroes Guild.
All right, I just did.
Oh, in school.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I did, I
cool.
did. I did, I did, I did.
Let's see.
We sent an email about school today, so we have a lot of new, fun, and exciting members in there. So I wanted to make sure they knew what everything we're about here at the Heroes Journal. So
I knew about the live stream. Okay, smart. I like it.
Can you send me the chat, Kyle? I have Restream
yeah,
open, but no messages are showing up, and I'm looking at Facebook, and there's messages in there.
let's
Look,
go chat.
Okay.
There you go, Ryan.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you. You're a hero and a scholar.
I try.
A gentleman and a scholar.
Hello, Maggie. Hey.
And the good news is, if someone joins via um school, they'll come through on YouTube. So it's perfect.
Perfect.
I'm gonna move locations really quickly.
Holly says Nick and Kyle are both labeled as Nick. I
Oh
can
yeah.
barely tell the difference.
We share a Zoom account.
Ah,
Yeah, we're too cheap to have our own individual
What?
Zoom account. It's like
Why?
$12 a month or something.
sheesh.
Yeah, but why do you need it? You know?
Who's got money for that?
That's true. We're pretty strictly a Google Meets company.
Yeah, it's just that you can't live stream from Google Meets in the same way as you can with
Mhm.
Zoom. So,
That's exactly right.
um,
Okay.
sorry everyone. For some reason, we're taking a while to really get our bearings here, but
Okay, it's
Yeah,
been
usually we have a
week
little
off.
bit of time to set up the live
that's on
stream,
me.
but we run into it. We
That's
also
on me.
did take a week off.
We're rusty. It's been 7 whole days. Sorry,
It's
It's
13
true.
true.
whole days.
14. Yeah,
Yeah. Kyle has COVID too, so I think that that's also maybe
Yeah.
I
part of it.
do have COVID.
Yeah, he's quarantining,
Yeah,
but
it is funny though because my sink is backed up, and I think it's part of my building's problem. So my
oh,
building just like knocked my door. We're sending a plumber in right now. And so, being that Casey had quarantine, we like sprayed the whole apartment down with bleach, and we're just gonna like stay over here.
Yeesh.
So a plumber might come in during this live stream. Fun
A
little
special guest.
special guest.
yeah.
I'll put him
Plumber.
on. I'll
Yeah.
ask him.
As
What do
long
you
as
think?
this plumber
Have you seen Time Bandits
has
Plumber?
has 17 time bit. He's like, it's actually my favorite movie.
Actually, now that you mention
And
it.
we fly
Before we
right
get
into it.
too deep, should we do a link for our Free Journal Friday?
Oh, not yet.
Cool.
So people can get in ASAP.
Hi, Kira. Um, hello, everyone. If you've
Hello.
forgotten or you haven't been here in a while, or maybe it's your first time, this is our Free Journal Friday live stream. And just like the name suggests, we are going to give one lucky viewer, one of you, a free journal as long as you're here to claim it at the end of this live stream. The way that works is you got to sign up. So Kyle's putting together a little sign up sheet. It'll be pinned on Facebook and on YouTube. Just write your name in there. We're going to do a big wheel spin at the end to land on a lucky hero. And then you get a free journal or side quest deck or a planner if you want, even.
Whatever you want.
Literally whatever you want.
Burrito. One's
Yes. Now, if you haven't seen the live stream in a little bit, we have been doing kind of a movie themed angle on a lot of these live streams. One of the three of us picks a movie for all three of us to watch. And this week, well, I guess this was a few weeks ago, but the newest movie that Ryan picked is Time Bandits. Ryan, why did you pick Time Bandits?
Lots of reasons, Nick. I love Time Bandits. It's one of my favorite movies. It's so fun and imaginative and silly, and it inspired pretty heavily. I think having watched it, rewatching it, I was like, wow, I put a lot of this into the Hero's Planner. We were coming up with a story for that one. You know, anytime there's a portal opens up in the sky and you fall out of it, that's Time Bandits, you know? Having a weird mixed up world where everything's combined at the end. That's Time Bandits. You know, it all came from that. I love it. Terry Gilliam is one of my favorite movie directors. I love Monty Python, and all the Monty Python guys are in this movie. It's funny, it's quirky, has a crazy ending, and I'm a big fan of Time Bandits. Oh, sounds like Kyle's as a plumber.
I think Kyle's plumber is here.
Yeah, we can.
Happy Friday, Joanna.
Happy. Hello, Kiara. We missed Jay Lady. Welcome back. Olympic grade lurker. Yes, Shelley Duvall is in this movie. She's like the only female character in this entire movie that has speaking lines. Learning Keys 21. Whatever you want. Whatever you off our store.
Well, the fun thing about this discussion, Kyle just finished Time Bandits, like not even 20 minutes ago. And so
we had a meeting before this, and he's like, I only have the last 15 minutes of Time Bandits left. Like, Nick and I are both like, Kyle, a lot of things happen in the last 15 minutes, bud. You got to go watch it. There's gonna be some spoilers, some light spoilers for the movie Time Bandits from 1981. So if you haven't seen it, whoops.
Okay.
It's not gonna ruin the movie for you. It's not like this twist, but
Kyle, so the plumber's working. This is super unexpected. Sorry.
It's okay. He can sign language. We have an ASL interpreter on staff who will help us figure out what Kyle's trying to say.
Yeah, we can do a whole movie review from Kyle, but with just hand gestures.
Yep. Hello, Queen. Welcome to our live stream. So, Nick, this is your first time watching Time Bandits, right?
Yes, this is my first time. I believe it was Kyle's first time as well, watching Time Bandits. I'd heard of it because they just are doing a remake, or I guess they're turning it into a show rather. That's on Apple TV. I believe it's still coming out actually. And so it was kind of in the zeitgeist for me anyway. And I was glad that you chose this because I didn't even know that it was like a remake, which is kind of sad. Especially after watching it. And I adored this movie. It was a bit of a slog for a little bit. And then I think once I started to understand the tone of it, I was like, oh, I love this. And I don't know how else to explain it other than the fact that it's like, it is sort of like a campy 80s movie, but it's British. And when I realized that part of it, I was like, oh,
yes,
this is way different.
It's way different. A lot of Monty Python DNA in this movie.
Yes. And I think once like the Robin Hood like bits like kind of came out, or like when we see is his name just Evil? Is that just like
his name is Evil? He's just Evil. Yeah.
Okay. I guess just Evil personified. When he was just blowing up his like henchmen, I was like, this is so funny. Yeah. And it made me think of like the Monty Python, like the wizard who's just like
it just has
blowing stuff up.
Just a like kind of like tongue-in-cheek sense of humor. It's very like Douglas Adams. It feels very like Hitchhiker's Guide a little bit. I love Evil's whole line where he's like, wasting time on daffodils. I would have laser beams, 8 a.m. day one. It's like this.
That's right.
Lines like that. It's like it's so funny. Like kind of making fun of
creation. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's the thing I love about it, and when I finally got on board with it was, and you don't really see this with movies as much anymore, but like they would do the absurd thing, like blow up a henchman, and they would just kind of let the consequence of that play out. And I feel like in like a modern like version of this, it's like they would like blow up the henchman and they would like reverse it or something like that, or
Right.
like you can tell that like it kind of shapes the story just with its silliness,
Mm-hmm.
and I like that.
I think
Um,
they don't like. I feel like a modern movie that would happen, and they'd be like, "Well, that just happened," or like,
yeah,
they'd be
yes,
like,
yeah, exactly.
"Don't have the burritos today, guys." Like one of those things.
Yeah, like when he turns the one into a dog at the
Yeah,
end,
yeah,
and then that becomes kind of how they're even able to get the map back. Like
yeah, yeah. He's a
I
double.
like that it is so silly, but then that it like actually is kind of that becomes part of the story. And even at the end, which I don't want to jump straight into this, but I just want to Kyle, are you able to talk or are you still are you
Yeah, he can't. He's
I don't
playing.
know if it's loud. I don't know if it's loud or not or what, but
It's okay. We'll get to it in a sec.
he's typing. Okay,
We wait for Kyle before talking about the end of
okay.
Can I just
Okay.
Maggie Sokolik on YouTube has an amazing comment. She went to the premiere, and Catherine Hellman, Mrs. Ogre, sat next to her.
No way.
That is amazing, Maggie. That's a story. That's
When
so cool.
when did the movie come out? Was it
1981.
81?
Yeah,
Wow.
that is so cool. Man,
It's
what an
awesome.
opportunity. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's so funny in the
Um
movie too. Catherine Hellman, she's really good. I guess there are two female characters with lines besides, Shelley Duvall and Mrs. Ogre. So
yeah, that's true. I want to ask you, Rob, what are some characters or moments that stick out to you or that have made you fall in love with Time Bandits watching it again?
like I love all the little guys. They're they're dwarves. Like that's something they don't have in the new one, is that they're all like regular sized people, which I feel
That's
like you're
true.
missing something. I love
Yeah.
that I love how there's like they're kind of like antagonistic to each other. They're like smacking each other around. They still care about each other, but they're all like, do that whole performance for Napoleon where they just like start hitting each other, and it's just like it's a great movie where guys just kind of like bumble into each other and get in each other's faces and shove each other around, and I love all that. It's super funny. I love Evil as a concept. I love him just like being this like really pissy guy who just wants to like he loves like the idea of modern technology, and I love how they set that up with Kevin's mom and dad at the beginning, and how they're so obsessed with their appliances. They're like, the neighbor has one that gets it done in 8 seconds. It's just like the whole thing, it's
Yeah.
meanwhile, Kevin's like just obsessed with history and fantasy and just like, like learning things. His parents are just like these modern idiots who just care about the best kitchen appliances.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's really funny. I love just like this is how they take these historical figures and make them silly. I love Napoleon in this movie. Robin Hood is hilarious. He's just like, oh, very good, wonderful, yes, nice to meet you. Yes, he just all of his guys are like these total scum bums or like punching the poor. Like, oh, here's the poor now. Here's the poor. Just,
I guess it's like
it's
it
just
is basically a Monty Python
it's just a
movie.
bunch of Monty Python sketches throughout history, but with these little guys trying to
Yeah.
steal things. It's super funny.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
actually that's exactly what it is. Now that I'm thinking back on it, it is just an absurdist
yeah.
kind of comedy.
I love the running thing with Shelley Duvall and Michael Palin. He's like, he always has a medical problem. He's like, oh, I love you. And he's always like, but the one thing,
Right,
but
right.
you love me forever. Yeah, it's just so funny.
Do you have a favorite like setting or historical, I guess,
Favorite
moment that
favorite sequence? Oh man,
that they get into?
I think
Because
I don't know.
where are all the places they
So
go? I know they go to.
they go to Napoleon, end of the Napoleonic Wars. They go to Middle Ages with Robin Hood. They go
That's right.
they visit Agamemnon in ancient Greece.
Mm,
They're on the deck of the Titanic. Uh,
are they in the deck of
yeah,
the
then the deck.
Titanic?
There's a part with Shelley Duvall and Michael Palin's got the thing on his nose.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes. Yeah,
and Randall asks for more ice, and then they hit an
that's
iceberg
right.
immediately. Uh, they go to the age of fantasy, age of legend, I think they call it, right? With the ogre
Oh,
and his wife on their
yep,
ship.
that's right. Yeah, it gets pretty out there.
Really amazing visuals at the end. I think the end sequence I really love just because it goes from like that sea, then they're hanging in that cage over a black void, and then they find
Yeah, that's a cool
find
sequence.
and they go find the evil's
Sure.
evil's castle, and it's full of all this random tech and everything, and he's got those horrible minions with like the cow skulls and the
Hmm.
claws for hands. It's just
That's right.
he just blows them up because he doesn't need them anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
They go all over the
yeah,
place. And of course, 1980s England, because that's where it starts and ends. So,
that's right. Yeah, it gets pretty wacky. Um, okay, so yeah, out of all the places, is there a place that you like the most?
I mean, I don't know. They're all I feel like they're all just individual little fun sketches, like little fun
Hmm.
little episodes that happen within the movie. Um, yeah, I think just maybe visually, it's like the whole end sequence, just like all that stuff is really evocative. A lot of cool like matte paintings to really give you a sense of scale. It makes everyone feels very small in this big old world. And um, I love God rolling up at the end and just being like, "All right, let's just clean up everything." And
Yeah.
I love the line when Fidget dies, and he's like, that's no excuse not to work," and brings it back to life, just to, like make it work some more.
It's like get back to work.
Fidget, played by Kenny Baker, who's also R2D2.
Is he really?
Yeah, most of these guys were also Ewoks
Wow.
a few years later in Return of the Jedi.
That's awesome. I had no
Yeah,
idea.
yeah, Kenny Baker got them all jobs on Star Wars
Ugh.
after that. So
Yeah, I was shocked, frankly, when he dies, or like when at the end, like all these things are going wrong, and I was like,
Fidget
what?
dies.
Like,
August turned into a pig. Uh,
yeah, like
yeah,
it just got really dark, and then
and
yeah,
the
they
Supreme Being shows up and is like, no, 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 no.
yeah,
And
it
as
just kind of
punishment,
like
they're
fixes.
put on molds and funguses. I think that's like their punishment, right? That's their job now.
Yeah, it just kind of fixes everything, and then you're like, oh, that like kind of like
Kind of ruins yeah, it's kind of like
I guess that's everything. And then the real ending is even crazier than that.
when Kevin gets them
Uh,
home. Yeah.
yeah, it's
All
true.
right, I'm
Kyle, did
back.
you have
I'm
a
back, by
favorite?
the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
good.
you're back? Okay. Okay, good. Now we can talk about the ending. I want to hear you, Kyle. You're fresh off of the watch. Can you explain what happens at the end of this movie?
So this is all actually very confusing to me, and I'm still trying to unpack it. And it's one of those things where I watched until they like faded off into like you could see all the houses, and then
Hmm.
it was time to come to here. And I still feel like I didn't watch the end of it. Like I feel like I have so many questions, right? I feel like so many things could have happened.
It
But
zooms out
essentially, he like
further, then you see the map of the universe, and then it rolls up, and that's it. That's the and there's a great George Harrison song over the credits.
Hmm.
first of all, Sean Connery.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But so the whole like I did like the fire in the house and the smoke getting him back to his house. I liked that like that
Fire from an
tie-in.
appliance, right? Like
Yeah,
one
from
of
an
his parents'
appliance,
stupid
right?
appliances.
And then obviously evil being on the inside, and then like his parents just dying and him being okay with it, which and then Sean
I don't
Connery
think
like
he's okay with it. I think he was pretty scared.
he was like, and then Sean Connery's like,
Wink. Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know what happens to Kevin after this movie, but I hope
I
I hope
know.
I hope Time Bandits give him a job or something. Maybe the Supreme Intelligence can like give him a.
Yeah, that is like the most British ending of all time. His parents, they don't just like die, they blow up.
They explode.
They just
It's just like this. It's just so funny. It's like this. Just a. It shows like I don't know.
yeah.
but
Very
so
irreverent, right? It's a very irreverent universe. It doesn't really care that much about individual people that much. Um,
No.
the crazy thing about this movie is how forward thinking it was, right? Because like in the 80s is when Microsoft started, and Bill Gates's dream was to have a computer in everyone's home.
yeah.
And so evil is like computers. And I was like, this is
Hmm.
the Bill Gates biopic. Like this is like he's like computers belong in every home.
He's Bill
Um
Gates. Oh my god.
it's just Bill Gates.
Yeah.
But like so the forward thinkingness of that was I thought that was pretty cool. Of like well this is a movie that was like playing with time because I feel like a lot of movies from the 80s and 90s and honestly 2000s were like 2020 is going to be like flying cars, all this stuff,
Mhm.
and they kept it very like they're like it's going to be computers everywhere.
Yep. And it's
They
gonna
nailed it.
suck.
Yeah.
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 So I did like that part. The other thing I loved is that the actual time bandits themselves, they never got to keep any of their loot.
No.
It always got lost somewhere, which I thought was amazing.
That's really funny. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they were never discouraged. You know what I mean? Like they were like a little like they were a little mad at Robin Hood, but for the most part, they were never discouraged. They were like, all right, let's get steal
We'll
some
steal
more
more
stuff
stuff. Yeah.
because they cared more about the stealing than than they did about the stuff they were stealing, which I thought was really cool because they just like
Mhm.
stealing.
That's a good point. Yeah. It's like you think about it too much. Like, why are they stealing? Or who are they going to sell this to? Like
Yeah,
throughout
exactly.
history, like I mean, they just like I think they just like stealing it. They just like Robin. I think it's just fun for them to like pull one over on somebody because they're not like
Exactly.
who are they going to sell the gold to? Like in back in history, they're going to get like what's it going to do for
My,
them?
my
Yeah.
only thought of when they
Yeah.
sold something was how they got treated so well in the Titanic. I
They
was
must
like,
have
maybe
had
they sold some of their stuff and they got like,
they got like tuxedos and stuff. Yeah. I wonder if
yeah.
they had something on them.
But other than that, I have no
Yeah.
idea. But yeah, that movie was a fever dream through and through.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, also, Ryan, you might be able to explain this to me. Why was Evil only allowed to see them through water? What about water made it so that he could see them through it?
I don't know. I think it's just like kind of the fairy tale aspect of it, kind of just like, the magic mirror. There's always an evil wizard in these stories who can like see people through its orb. It's a Palantir, right? It's just I don't know why it's got to be water, but that's just the visual they chose, I guess. I don't know. It's interesting.
Um, Nick, does the
So
show match this at all, or is it completely
Yeah, I was going
different?
to ask you, how's the show based
yeah.
on?
So the show is very similar in a lot of ways. There's the evil character played by the guy from Flight of the Concords,
Oh, Jermaine
Jermaine.
Clement. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's pretty good. And it's funny in the show they you can see the main characters and the time bandits through cats. Cats is like his
Oh, instead of horns.
Palantir.
You can see the
And they like
cats.
make a bit out of it where he's like flipping through channels and he's like, no, and he's like trying to find the right the
All through
right
the eyes of
like
cats.
channel.
That's really
Yeah,
funny.
through the eyes of different cats and stuff. Or it might be through like I don't know. So they play with a lot of that. The parents are super funny in the show because
Hmm.
they're like modern, even more modern versions of just like terrible people who only care about technology. And the kid, obviously, I think is his name Kevin in the movie.
Yeah, it's Kevin in the movie.
Okay, so it's also Kevin in the show. Um, so same kind of kid, like just loves history, and his parents keep trying to like they're like go like they keep trying to like get him hooked on technology, and so it's like super reverse from what it usually is. They're
Hmm.
like we bought you a phone, you don't use it, or like they're like oh you're playing video games, like good, like we want you to play more video games, or like it's just they're just the worst
Awful
kind of
influence on
parents.
a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, they're awful. And then Kevin has like no interest in like technology and he just loves history. And so they really do play up those themes. It is a bummer that the time bandits themselves, they're not, little like dwarves. They're kind of like that part's different.
It's like
They go
Lisa
to a lot
Kudrow.
of places.
Isn't like Lisa Kudrow in it
It is.
as a time
Yeah,
bandit?
she is.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't want to say she steals the show, but she gets a lot of screen time.
She's a very charming person. I feel like everything I've seen her in,
Yeah,
I've enjoyed. So,
she does a good job.
is she like the leader? Is
It's
she like the
good.
Randall character?
She is.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's kind of more incompetent in a way.
Hmm.
Like she kind of has like her own like leadership story arc and learning how to be. I haven't finished it by the way. I don't even think it's over. I think episodes are still coming out,
Yeah.
but it is. There's some really good. Uh, I never pronounce his name right. Taika Waititi. Is that how you
Taika
say his
Waititi.
name?
Yeah, he's
Taika Waititi.
yeah.
So he's the director. He's also in it, but there's like he's if you're familiar with like his brand of humor, it works really well in this in a lot of these sequences. Um, and so there's a really funny scene early on where Kevin's like they're like picking kids for like different teams on like soccer,
Hmm.
and they like pick a kid. Like Kevin's the last to get picked, and they pick um or like Kevin's like talking. You don't know who he's talking to. He's talking about like his birthday and like how excited he is about this history thing. And then it flashes to this kid like picking for teams. Like, okay, we're gonna pick that kid, and they pick a kid in like crutches and a cast.
Poor
It's like
nerdy
little
Kevin.
moments. Yeah, like little moments like that are really great. He also has a sister in this one, and she plays a good part. I would recommend it.
Okay.
I would
Yeah,
recommend it.
I'll check
Rather
it
than
out.
talking about it, I've enjoyed it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I would offer an insight into the story, the hero's journey zeitgeist of the hero's journal.
Yeah.
So we have talked about how sometimes in Eastern films or stories or anime that there can be a 4-act structure versus a 3-act structure, right?
Yeah.
I think that in the Monty Python British storytelling, there is a 1-act structure and no hero grows. Like
Mm.
they didn't solve anything for Kevin. You know what I mean? They make Kevin the main character. He doesn't come back. He's not better. He's
No.
not any nothing.
Well,
Like
he almost got adopted by Agamemnon before his friends came and ruined his party. So
exactly.
It's true.
They almost steal the character progression
right,
from their main
the
character.
bandits. They yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I feel like
the
quite
bandits don't
often,
really have they don't really have an arc either, do
I
they?
mean, Randall kind of, I think he maybe comes around he starts out as kind of this brash leader. He's a little more humble
That's
by the
true.
end, I guess. I do kind of like that line at the
Yeah.
beginning where he's like, like, we don't have a leader, so listen to me. Just like he's just really like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really funny.
They
but
do
yeah,
they
like
play up that angle a lot in the show. They love
Yeah,
that joke in the show. They're
it's
like,
fun.
no one's in charge, and that's
That's why
because I said so.
because I said so. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
they
yeah,
do that a lot.
it's this weird thing where like none of the characters grew, and like no one returns home a better version of themselves. It's just like they all just kind of are trying to avoid the worst case scenario, right? Because they're
Yeah.
not excited to go back and work for the Supreme Leader, right? He goes, "You got 19% pay cut, 19% pay cut,
Yeah.
backdated to the beginning of time."
Beginning of time, and
Yeah,
you gotta work
Yeah.
on moss and fungus now. That's your new job.
yeah.
That's
So it's
right.
like I don't know. It was the weird. It was like the end of the movie. There's no like fulfillment of anything. You're just
Yeah.
like, oh, it's over.
Well, yeah, I don't. I think this is the tone of the movie. I think it's just supposed to be kind of fun and silly. It's part of. So Terry Gilliam made 3 movies in the '80s, and he kind of thinks of it as like his imagination trilogy, and it's supposed to represent different points of your imagination in your life. And so the first one's Time Bandits, and that's how you imagine things when you're a little kid, when you're a child. He made a movie called Brazil, which I love, which is how you imagine things as a middle-aged person. It's basically 1984, like the book 1984, but with the same visual style as Time Bandits. It's super zany and weird, but it's basically about like this kind of like salary man who just imagines a better life outside of this dystopian world, and he has these big imagination sequences. And the last one is The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, which is about being an old man and telling your tales and being imaginative about your adventures as a younger person. All 3 are really worth watching. If you like Time Bandits, I definitely recommend Brazil and Baron Munchausen. So I think maybe it doesn't have a resolution because it's supposed to be kind of how a child views the world, right? A child is still in the process of growing. It's kind of a story a kid would tell, right? It feels like a story that a kid would write. It's kind of like an and then they meet Robin Hood, and then they go to the evil's house, and then they blow up, and then they go back home, and then the parents get blown up by a rock. The end. And then they laugh because it's a really funny story they just told, right?
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if maybe that's why it doesn't feel like it has a satisfactory conclusion to you. But if you watch those 3 movies together, maybe it would feel maybe it has more of an ending. If you watch Brazil, then you watch Baron Munchausen, maybe you feel like, okay, there's a through line through these 3 movies. They're not tied
Yeah,
together
it's-
story wise, but they're thematically tied together.
I'll have to check that out. I really like that idea of like how your imagination works or how you see the world
Mm-hmm.
at different parts of your life. I didn't realize that he directed like 12 Monkeys.
Yeah, yeah. Terry Gilliam, he did all the animation for Monty Python. He was the only American Python
Mm,
of those guys.
I
He
see.
had all the animated sequences, like the big feet stepping on, the God in the sky and the Holy Grail.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so he yeah, he's made a bunch of really interesting creative movies. Um, they're not all good. Some are kind of disasters.
Oh, honestly, none of them have gotten like a lot of critic
They're,
praise,
they're ones
really,
that like I know Time Bandits and Brazil and Munchausen. I think all
except
three
for
of those are part of
Brazil.
the Criterion collection. So clearly, people, I think they're respected, but they weren't ever successful.
I see.
Yeah.
I guess I mean, and then Monty Python,
In later years, I will say
and the
he's
Holy
kind of become
Grail.
a little bit of a crank. He's kind of like a little bit of a COVID denier. Terry Gilliam, he's kind of gone off the deep end a little bit, but his movies from the 80s and 90s, I think, are pretty cool and creative. So
Yeah, yeah. Now that I'm learning more about him, there's some like buzz about a year ago of him like storming off the set of the new Time Bandits show.
oh, really? Okay.
Um, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if he like approves or signs off on it, but
Yeah, we probably had to get
anyway,
some sort of production credit on that, right? Because it's based on his movie. So
of course,
Isn't it
yeah.
weird that somebody who like spent their career making movies like Monty Python and Time Bandit end up being cranky? It's like the
yeah.
irony, right? Like
Well,
your whole thing
John
is
Cleese is kind of the same way. He's kind of a weird, like upper crust British guy now. Like he's very much like he was all about Brexit and stuff. Yeah, that is it's we don't get political here, but it's interesting. These really creative, thoughtful guys have kind of gone off, kind of gotten a little bit weird in their old age. So
Yeah,
right.
man.
yeah,
This is a
Nicole says
great.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
She was just saying that Uma Thurman is in Baron Munchausen. She plays Aphrodite.
Mm,
Yes. Is the birth of Venus. Yes. I guess technically it's
wow.
Venus. It's not Aphrodite, it's the Roman, but that is Uma Thurman.
This is a really good. This is a really good movie pick, Ryan.
Thank you. I'm glad it's good conversation. Again, if you like this, definitely
Yeah.
check out the other movies in his Imagination trilogy. And yeah, I mean it's cool. The show is good too. I'll have to check it out. I don't have Apple Plus, so I'll have to find another way to watch it. But I love Time Bandits. And again, like I said, I'm watching it now. I was like, oh man, I put a lot more into this than the Heroes Planet than I thought I did.
Mm, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Little episodic moments.
Yeah, yeah. That's what this movie is.
They're fun.
Bunch of little episodes, which probably
At
makes it
least
good
you
for a
made
TV
our
show.
at least you made our portals circular rather than squares. I mean
I know.
rectangles.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Mm. Kyle, what do you rate Time Bandits out of 10? No sevens.
on the Ebert scale, I give it an 8-1.
8-1.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was definitely thinking in the eights. I almost want to give it a 9. I'm gonna give it a 9. I think
Yeah.
it deserves a 9. I watched it on Sunday night. So I watched it like a while, like I don't want to say a while ago, but
Yeah.
I've had time to think about it, and I keep thinking it just about I just like it put me in a good mood. I
It's
like it.
fun. Yeah. I
And
mean,
so,
I'm
to
giving
me,
it a
that's
10. I think it's perfect. I mean, there's a few parts I think it
Yeah.
drags. I think it drags a little bit in the Agamemnon section, just a smidge, just a smidge. Anytime, basically, anytime any of the Time Bandits aren't on screen or Evil's not on screen, it kind
Yeah.
of drags. But
That's
I
true.
love Evil.
Honestly, the
Love-
show is very similar. The show is very similar in the exact same way. Like, there's parts where you're like, all right,
Count down to the next part. Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, okay, we got 2 8s and an 8 and a 9 and a 10. Oh,
Wow.
Time Bandits.
We can count.
that's
We sure can.
a good pick. Good pick.
Cool.
Okay, what's the next movie? Do we have it?
What's next?
Is
Yeah,
it
so Nick will not be
2
with
weeks
us
from
next
now?
week. No, so
Okay.
Ryan, it'll be just you and me next week.
Okay, what are we watching, Kyle?
Um, I was thinking about on the 20th of September, because I'm going to send out a schedule for all of September. I was thinking about Walter Mitty.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen Walter
Um,
Mitty.
and it sounds very much like how you described Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be interesting if we watch Brazil and then Walter Mitty, so I can hear both of your
Oh,
thoughts on that.
yeah.
Um, or Nick, if you would like, we can watch Brazil on the 20th for one that you will be at, so that you can watch Brazil with us.
I mean, I made a pick for September, but I could make my pick Brazil for September if you gotta watch that. You know, you don't. I don't want to take
No,
over someone else's pick.
no, I like the pick
Okay.
because I already picked Walter Mitty. So I mean, Walter Mitty's all about a guy who works in the basement and thinks about how great his life will be if he got to finally travel. So it feels
Mm-hmm.
very much like that. Like I like to compare. I like to compare like movies to
Yeah,
see
yeah,
which one I like better. So let's do this. Let's do Walter Mitty for next week because you haven't seen it, Ryan.
yeah, yeah.
And then on the 20th, we'll all watch Brazil.
Cool. Love it. Sounds good to
Is
me.
that cool?
Yeah. The Secret
Secret
Life of
Life,
Walter Mitty.
Walter Mitty. Yep.
So next week,
And
Mitty.
then
Got it.
to carry on the theme, I elected that we watch The Godfather.
Yes.
Um,
We're watching
I've
Godfather.
never seen The Godfather. I've never seen any of the Godfather movies, and so this felt like the right way to do it. I'm sure that you've seen it, Ryan. You've seen The
I
Godfather.
have, yeah. It's a good flick for people. You know, like some of these movies, they get these kind of like this big reputation. You're like, oh, it can't possibly be as good as people say it is. Then you watch Godfather
Yeah.
1 and 2, and you're like, yeah, it is as good as people said it was. Like, there's a reason this movie is so well
Wow.
regarded, and yeah.
So why are
I'm
there
excited.
Godfather posters in every rapper's bathroom on MTV Cribs in the early
Yeah.
2000s? Why was it
Godfather,
always
it's Godfather and Scarface because it's both
oh, Scarface? Yeah.
about gangsters and the gangster lifestyle and learning how to
Yeah.
it's all about the difficult choices you got to make and how your family sometimes has to get in the way of and like just it's all very relatable if you're from the streets. I think
Mm,
it's supposed to. I remember, yeah, every
Yeah.
MTV Cribs would be a guy being like, yeah, Scarface essential, point to his poster.
yeah.
Yeah.
Scarface,
Scarface too.
Godfather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm excited. I feel like there's so many homages that are like there's so many nods to Godfather in other movies and in like jokes
You've probably picked up a
and I
lot of
sort of like
cultural osmosis. You've probably picked up a lot of it already, but I think in context,
yes.
you're like, oh, I mean, I think it's cool. I think you'll enjoy them.
Yeah. And so I'm excited to knock that off my movie bucket list. Do you guys have any movies like that where you're just like you haven't ever seen them and you know that you should watch them?
Probably. I know every year I
Like
look at the AFI Top 100, the American Film or like the Film
mm,
Institute, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch all 100 of these. And there's some of them that's like, I probably should watch. I should have seen this by now, but I haven't. Um,
yeah. Like I've never seen what else have I never seen? I've never seen Shawshank Redemption.
okay,
Whoops.
Shawshank's good.
Um I've never seen like Doctor Strangelove. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's a great one. Let's
Citizen
see.
Kane.
Look at
Never
this
seen
list
Citizen Kane.
here. I mean, I've seen top top 10 here. Top 10 movies in the American Film Institute. Citizen Kane, The Godfather, Casablanca, Raging Bull. I haven't seen Raging Bull. Singing in the Rain,
Ooh,
Gone with the Wind,
I haven't seen
Lawrence of
Raging Bull
Arabia.
either.
Haven't seen what?
I haven't seen Raging Bull
It's a boxing movie.
either.
I could have
Yeah,
been a
it's De
contender.
Niro.
Yeah. Schindler's List,
Um,
Vertigo, Wizard of Oz. I've seen a lot of these, but some of them like I've not. Sunset Boulevard. Never seen Sunset Boulevard. Never seen The Graduate. Never seen
mm,
On the Waterfront. I've come some blind spots, I think.
Kyle, what about you? Do you have any movies that you're like, oh, I should see this? You just haven't watched it yet?
Honestly, a lot of like old kung fu movies. Like I haven't watched like any. I've watched very few Bruce Lee movies.
Hmm.
Um,
I can give you a list, Kyle, if you want some good ones.
I would love that.
Yeah. they're really quick, easy to watch because they're like all like 70 minutes long. And watch Enter the Dragon. It's good. My favorite is called Master of the Flying Guillotine. It's about this guy who has a flying guillotine. It's a basket that he throws onto your head, and he pulls the string, and it takes your head with it. And it was the inspiration for Street Fighter 2, because there's a guy who does yoga and stretches his arms.
Ah,
And it's about this one-armed boxer.
wow.
This guy with one arm, who's very clearly a guy with two arms with his arm in his shirt, fighting the Master of the Flying Guillotine at a battle tournament. It's so good. It was a big
Wow.
inspiration for Quentin Tarantino when he made Kill Bill. So
Ah,
maybe that'll be a pick for
That's
mine one of
really
these
fun.
days. Make you guys watch Master of the Flying Guillotine.
I like it.
I'd love to get into some old kung fu
They're
movies.
so weird. Some of them are so weird.
Yeah, I would love, just because I think we talk about it a lot, but I could see myself recommending Big Trouble Little China because I want Kyle to watch it.
That's a great pick.
It's just it's such a weird movie,
Yeah.
and it has who's in it?
It's got
Jeff, is it Jeff Bridges?
No, it's what's his face? It's I'm blanking on his name. Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
His name is Jack Burton in the movie. It's all Jack Burton and the Pork
right.
Chop Express, He's the big hero of this movie. And then he just gets his ass kicked constantly. It's so good. I love it.
It's like, I just imagine him on set in that movie, and he's just like, "What am I like? What is this movie about?" And he's just like,
And he plays it perfectly. He plays this this boastful truck driver, white guy coming into Chinatown to be like, "I'm the hero of this adventure," and then he's like,
yeah,
his friend who's actually Chinese does all the work for him in the whole movie. It's so good.
yeah, it's really great. One day, Kyle.
Oh, Kung Pao, good choice, Jason.
One
Kung
day.
Pao is so funny. Yeah, we talked about that a few weeks ago.
Oh.
Is that just a comedy class?
Kung Pao.
KRS.
I think
Chambers of Shaolin. That's also a great movie.
Yeah. Oh, I've never seen that.
That's a good one.
Kung Fu Hustle. I would also throw in there.
Shaolin Soccer. Kung Fu Hustle, so good.
Shaolin Soccer I've seen.
Shaolin Soccer.
So as someone who has spent this week quarantining due to COVID, I've watched a lot of entertainment on TVs and whatnot. Casey and I watched Shrek and Shrek 2. And I think Shrek 2 is substantially better than Shrek the first.
Really? Okay.
Whoa.
I think it's way better. And I don't know if you guys have watched Shrek and then Shrek 2 recently. But Shrek's a great movie.
Yeah.
But Shrek 2 from a meaningfulness, does the outcome feel meaningful? It surpasses Shrek by a long shot.
Okay.
Because Shrek is this guy who only cares about being by himself in the first one, and so it's he only realizes he wants to be with Fiona in the last 20 minutes of the movie, right? So there only is stakes in the last 20 minutes of the movie. Whereas in the second Shrek, almost the full movie, he is coming to grips with the fact that he is not who his wife thought she was going to marry her whole life, right?
Yeah.
So you have 5 minutes of the second one, and then all of a sudden he's doing all this self-consciousness and not being good enough, and then he has to fight that, and he becomes the thing she wants. Anyways, way better movie, the second one, than the first one.
All right.
But isn't the first Shrek? Isn't he just trying to protect his swamp? Isn't that what he's trying to do?
He wants all those critters out of his swamp. All those fairy creatures. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
or is that
it's for what? So you can go back to being by yourself, and it's one of those things where you watch it and you realize from the beginning that's not actually what you want, right? You want to be accepted by somebody,
right?
It's but the second one, it's so much more human. I know he's an ogre, but it's so much more human.
But he does actually become a human in that one. He gets
True.
Yeah, he does.
He becomes dashingly handsome.
Handsome, he sure does.
Okay. Shrek.
All right. I mean that I don't think that's that hot of a take. I remember Shrek 2 being really funny. I think in my mind it was Shrek 1 was more solid, but because Shrek 2 had a lot more like references to things. It felt more like referential to pop culture at the time. But maybe I'm just thinking, I'm trying to think of like what was funny. I remember like, oh, haha, it's like, Gingerbread Man's a Godzilla or, whatever. Like there's
Yeah, is that in the second one? The
and
big,
there's
big
like a
gingerbread?
cops parody at one part. And I wonder like how much that stuff has aged versus Shrek
It's
1.
fantastic.
Still funny, still good.
It's still fantastic. One thing about Shrek that they've done a good job on both of them. I haven't got to the third one yet, so I'll let you know when I get there. But um, it's like genuinely funny. It's not kid funny. It's like
Mhm.
genuinely they make really good jokes the whole time because it's like they have Eddie Murphy and Mike Myers, and Mike Myers and Eddie Murphy are both just funny human beings,
Yeah.
and so I'm sure that that helps. Versus them
Two
just being like traditional voice actors.
two also brings in Puss in Boots, which again
Yeah.
we love around here.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah. We're talking about
Um,
D&D movies in the chat right now. The most
yeah,
recent Dungeons and Dragons movie, really good,
really good.
very fun. I want them to make like 10 more of
Surprisingly
those.
good.
Yeah, let's make
Yeah,
more of those. They're great.
Do we like
it
Chris
was.
Pine?
I think he's good in the right role.
He's good in Dungeons and Dragons.
He's very funny in the role of kind of like a boastful, doofus. I think he's really good at that.
Hmm.
Anything else I've seen him in that I liked him in. He's okay as like Captain Kirk. Um,
Oh yeah, that's right.
he
If
was
he gets to
in,
be a character that part of their personality is being hot, he does a really good job.
yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like if being hot is a part of their character arc, then he nails it.
Yeah,
Yeah, the things I've
he's in
seen him
Wonder
in. I
Woman.
mean, yeah, he
Yeah.
was. Yeah, he's like the love interest, isn't
He actually saves the day, which honestly makes me so mad.
he? Yeah.
I have so many qualms with that first Wonder Woman movie. It makes
Hmm.
me.
Yeah,
Anyways, I'm not gonna go over it, but
You don't
it's
get.
it.
Yeah, I did like him in Dungeons and Dragons though. I thought he was very, very funny. He's a great character to play. Um, do
mm.
more like that.
And that movie was great.
I love it. I think about Jonathan all the time. Poor Jonathan. Um,
Speaking of Dungeons and Dragons, I don't know if you saw this clip or if you heard about this, Ryan. Um, and I don't remember her name, which is going to make this a hard thing to get across the line. But an actress from Daredevil was on John Bernthal's podcast. John Bernthal is the Punisher. He's the
right.
guy. He's in The Walking Dead. He was
Yeah.
in Fury. He's in The Bear a little bit. He has a podcast called Real Ones, and in real life, John Bernthal's like super man's man, like a boxer. He's like very much
Okay.
like
I can
cool
see
guy,
that.
jock
Yeah.
energy. And this woman who I believe is like either like a writer or an actress on Daredevil is like a huge dungeon master, like just loves
Oh,
D&D and has been playing
yeah.
it for a long time. And so she's talking to John Bernthal about playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Mhm.
And she's like, would you ever play Dungeons and Dragons? And he's like, it's a cool guy. He's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, it seems interesting. He's like, maybe. And she's like, no, do you want to play right now? And on the spot, she like, he like does this exercise with him and they just go right into like D&D. And
Oh,
she's
that's
like, okay, you're walking through a forest. You have a dagger on your waist. You have a bow, and you hear rustling in the. She's like, "What do you do?" And he's like, how far away? Like, how far away is the rustle in the bushes?" And she's like, roll. Oh, here it is. We'll just watch
All right.
it.
Do we have 8 minutes to watch the whole thing? Because you have to do free journal wheel. We also got to do bracket clock. But
I can't
watch
hear
the
you,
whole
Kyle.
Kyle, you're muted, bud. He's scrambling. He's
Too many
Um,
screens.
I already have the names in the wheel.
okay.
Everyone watching right now, while we're watching this clip, if you type in your brags, we'll read them after this clip, give away a free journal, and then we'll go on our merry way.
Sounds like a plan. Let's
This
do
is
it.
great. This is great. Okay.
Let's watch John Berthel. I
Can
can't
you hear
him.
it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Um. All right. Let's go
Oh
here.
yeah. She's one of the characters.
I think you have to switch
Very well.
your input source, Kyle, or maybe just turn your headphones off. I think that would do it.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's just
There it
yeah,
is.
it's just a collaborative storytelling with some characters.
And you tell the story?
Yeah, I'm a dungeon master, so generally I've written an arc and created a world, and then players explore it. And I make calls as to like how difficult it is to climb a wall or fight a monster or that kind of thing.
And so if you say this is a real difficult monster
Yeah.
to fight, then you got to come up with a different way of fighting it.
Yeah, or either it can just be like how hard you hit it and how long the thing goes, but it might be how do you negotiate your way out of it? If you can't actually kill a dragon, but it's going to eat you, how do you tell it not to? So there are other kind of checks that you can do, persuasions and deceptions and intimidations and all
And
that.
then you decide whether you beat the dragon, the person
Whether
beat the
it's
dragon.
yeah, there are stats. There's a lot of math involved that can make that happen. But like,
God damn.
you want to play D&D?
I mean, I'll try. I mean, what do you think?
No,
I'd be
like
able to do it?
literally right now.
Sure.
All right. So what do you see? You've got a bow strapped to your back, a sword and a dagger at your
Okay.
hilt, right? So you're walking through the woods. It's dark. It's at night.
Mhm.
Almost no moonlight is coming through. You hear a crack off in the distance.
Mhm.
Something large stepped on a branch. What would you do?
First thing,
Mhm.
how far away is the crack?
Give me a perception check. So then you roll dice and we'd see how perceptive you are. Let's say you roll a 13.
Okay.
Okay. And you're pretty perceptive. So you have a +3 to that. That's 16. So I know, okay, 16, that's pretty perceptive. You think it's about 20 feet away.
Okay. It's about 20 feet away.
Mhm.
I think I take out my bow first.
Yeah. So you take a bow, you're readied, you're
Yeah.
aimed, you're looking.
Hey, right at where the spot's coming. Yeah.
Okay. Slowly creeping towards you, suddenly into view, a little bit of eye shine in the darkness. You see an owl bear. This is a 10, 15 foot tall monster. It looks like an owl, but it has the body of a bear. It opens its beak and squawks at you. What do you do?
Have I ever met an owl bear before? Like, are owl bears?
So this is D&D. You're playing D&D.
I mean, a history check.
So a history check would be like in your past, in
Yeah.
your history, have you
Okay,
experienced?
so how do I
this
check?
before?
Yeah, let's
So you
check.
would roll a dice. Let's say you have a low history. You roll a 13, but you have a -3, that's a 10. So no, you've never met an owl bear in your life. You have no idea whether it's threatening or not, but it is squawking at you.
I'd be like, yo, are you my friend or you my foe?
Fantastic. You speak to it.
Yeah, I try.
Give me an animal handling check. So you'd roll another one. So this is we kind of see based on your character sheet that you created, you're going to be good and bad at different things.
Who I create the sheet?
You could, or I could, or you could get a pre-made
But
sheet,
why
that
don't
kind
you
of
just
thing.
make your sheet that you're great at everything?
Because, if you're a wizard who's in school studying books to learn magic, you're probably not spending that much time in the gym. Versus if you're, a knight who goes out and slays dragons, maybe you're socially awkward and don't know how to talk to people. So your
So is it
charisma
within your
status.
interest to like not be great at everything?
You want flaws. Like one of my favorite characters, my friend Tommy played Viros. He was a prince. And the idea was that he was very, he'd been kind of pampered his whole life and everyone always laughed at all his jokes and said that he was wonderful and handsome. But he's actually not that funny. He's not that handsome. He just has been sheltered. So when he got out in the world and started investigating, he thinks that he's this charming, suave individual, but his stats, his like literal charisma stats are very low. So he would fail constantly. And part of his story throughout the campaign was him learning that he wasn't as charming as he thought he was. So flaws are great. Flaws make good story.
But is the goal to win?
No,
What's
there
the
is
goal?
no goals to tell a great story.
Tell a great story.
And there might be arcs of like one big bad is like hurting innocent people. And there are monsters to fight. So you're motivated to be a hero. And that's what I love about D&D is practicing being a hero. It's practicing protecting the innocent and stopping the bad guy and standing up for your fellow players. It's the greatest game ever created. And it's just collaborative storytelling. You just sit at a table. It's as close as you can get to when you were 7 on the play yard, just like making up games and stories. And I love it. And I will do it until I die.
Yeah.
And it saved me through pandemic. It saved me through strikes. Like I always had this thing to turn to for creativity and finances, frankly.
How finances?
People pay me to run games for them and pay me to write campaigns and do things like that.
Yo.
It's like a whole side career now. But it's cool. And like
We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just wanted the part where she like tricks him into playing D&D.
jumps right
and he
into
has-
it, yeah.
He has like a great time. I
People-
love it.
That's great. That's so fun. I think people are having some confusion over what Bracket Clock is before we get back to talking about this. Yeah, Bracket Clock.
Bracket clock's the best time of the day.
Like Bracket Clock, when you talk about things you're proud of from yourself this week. What's something you've done, something someone else has done that you're want to brag about. For
And
example,
remember,
Yeah.
We
there's
have a
one
bra-
rule of brag clock.
Yeah.
There's no brag too big or too small, and you can never, ever, 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 ever be humble during brag clock. You got to brag about yourself.
gotta brag it.
Yep.
So
Gotta brag
brag
it.
away to everyone. We want to hear it. We want to read it aloud.
I mean, just for example, Banny Bunch gave us a good example of a brag. Brag! I began decluttering our home and office today using the SideQuest deck card. Take inventory of your possessions and decide which ones spark joy and which ones don't. That's amazing. That's a brag.
Bam. Great brag.
Doing it.
Everyone give kudos to Banny Bunch. Let's see what else we got.
Maggie said, I started a mini quest. First one. I've been using the journal since the beginning, though. I love that.
Incredible. S.A. Crow on YouTube said, I published my second book's second edition with a new cover on Amazon, and then did live YouTube writing sprints.
Amazing.
These are
Yeah.
great examples, great brags here.
SA
Good
Crow
job.
also finished their first mini quest. That's also a brag. Thanks for trying those out. You know, we love to hear that.
Yeah. Very cool.
Learning Keys 21 said, relaxing for the last weekend before I go back to almost full-time tutoring gives me space to think. That's a great one.
That's a
Yeah.
good brag.
Giving yourself space is great.
What else we got? It looks like Ace got some quality time with her nephew for his birthday. I would say that's a brag. I'm
Yeah.
calling it a brag. Good brag.
Our Olympic grade lurker got a perfect quality score at work this month. Perfect.
Ooh,
Nice.
that is the definition of a brag right
That's
there.
a huge brag. Yeah.
Victoria's kept their new schedule the last 2 days. That's amazing. New schedules are hard, and to keep it perfect is great.
Yeah. Making it a habit. It's tough. Good job.
Tanya said Tanya is starting a college class on management, which is so cool. If you guys don't know, Tanya is the one who came up with the idea for the side quest deck. And so I love that she herself is doing side quests, such as taking a college class on management.
Or it could be
Great
main-
brag, Tanya.
That's great.
Could also be a main quest. A quest in general. Awesome, Tanya.
Michael Tucker. I redefined a process at work, taking something that took weeks to only a few days. That's streamlining.
Oof.
Good job, man. That's awesome.
Kyle's love language right there. That's a great brag. And you know what? Probably, Michael, I'm assuming it's probably an unsung brag. And so I'm glad you brought it to Brag O'Clock,
Yeah.
because no brag is unsung here.
That's the kind of
We,
thing at work that
we
people don't
celebrate
really like
everything.
notice, and then they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I bet people noticed. I bet people are like, man, I'm so glad that.
I'm so glad that Michael is here to streamline this for us. Yeah.
Whether they notice or not, we notice it today. And good for you.
We're doing bragging.
Ace
Big kudos.
added on to their original brags that I hang out with my nephew Ralph Lynn yesterday for his birthday, and I just no paint at my place. So that's pretty cool too. An addition.
In addition.
Ooh,
Nicole-
Nicole Davis popped in here. Oh, sorry, did I cut you, Ryan?
It's your turn? It's my turn.
Is it okay?
Go
I'll
ahead,
just-
Nick. You
I'll
got
just
it. You
go.
got it. Yeah.
Nicole has a brag for Melody. Melody's about to start 6th grade. Wow. She's going to be in the school production of The Wizard of Oz 3. Am I reading this
A
correct?
threequel. Wow. Okay.
Is it the final in the trilogy?
Yeah.
She's in a local theater musical comedy murder called Villains and Vixens.
That's fun.
This is so fun to hear. I'm proud of Melody. We're proud of Melody
That's-
here.
That's crazy. If Melody's in 6th grade now, that means that when we started the Heroes Journal 6 years ago,
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
that be kindergarten or would that be 1st grade? How does that work?
I'm
Unless
not
you
counting, man.
skipped a grade,
Might
probably
be-
first, I'm
yeah,
assuming.
probably first grade. Yeah.
Well, because she hasn't finished 6th grade yet.
She's
So
just
if
starting.
finishes
She's starting.
6th grade, it'll be
Yeah.
7th. She's
It's
probably
the fall
kindergarten.
school. Yeah. She's 5. Yeah. 5 or
Wow.
6. That's crazy. Melissa says, I lost the loan for my new house build, but actually I'm turning it around into a positive. That's great. You know,
Amazing.
that's a big hit, but I'm glad you can
Yeah.
turn it into something better.
Nicole said brag question mark for me. I managed to break 2 standing lamps and a chair and attempt to do an art night on the patio.
Excellent.
Hey,
Hey, you
art
know
is
what?
the-
Just make art. That's why I say, Nicole, just do it. Doesn't matter if it's good. Doesn't matter if it's a masterpiece. Just do it. Just make something.
Mm.
It's good for you.
Kiara hopped in here on Facebook and said, after so long of being stranded without a car, I was finally able to purchase one yesterday. Now I'm free to go visit friends or visit the restaurants that have been on my list forever. That is a great brag. Congratulations, Kiara. Drive safe. And you earned it. Good for you.
Absolutely. Akira Osborne says, use my journal to help keep me organized and on schedule. We'd love to hear it. That's what it's there for, man. That's great.
Yeah.
Erica decluttered 2 Doom boxes on my day off and finally built the display case I bought for my Lego collections. That's
Sweet.
I love the term Doom box.
Yeah, that's a good term.
Assuming that isn't referencing something super specific.
like Doom.
Well, I think everyone's got like, sometimes it's like a murder closet in their house, just like a thing that's full of boxes that will kill you if you go in there, or a corner of your
Yeah.
basement that's just stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe maybe Erica is a huge fan of the Doom video games.
Oh,
and
she's
just
got
had
a bunch of like, there's like a bunch of Paco demons in
paraphernalia.
there and like BFGs. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, where are we at?
I think J Lady.
We're on
Okay, Joe Lady.
yeah.
It's Joe Lady. Brad jumped into yarn crafts, and I'm in the middle. And I'm in the middle of making a crochet satchel bag I started last night. Wow. I have the base and about 1/4 of the sides done. About to switch colors. Love how it's going. That is so exciting. I can feel your excitement
Yeah, I love J Lady.
in your message here.
I'm with you. I just started crocheting a couple weeks ago. I did a Woobles kit, and now I'm like obsessed with it. I have so many little critters. You want to see my crochet?
This is-
Yeah, I'll grab my crochet.
This is crazy, Ryan.
I'll read this last one while I was gone and we'll tell you.
Look at all these little
I'm
guys.
sort of like a cleaning lady for my job.
Look at all my little friends I made
Want me?
out of yarn.
Okay.
It's my thing now. This is my Braga clock. I
Ryan,
started with
remind
him,
me of this. You have no idea how insane this is.
and
This
then I
is a
made a
crazy book.
bat just yesterday, and then I made Kirby. I bought a bunch of yarn, and then I made this little
Wow.
freak who watches me work with his big dead eyes, and I made this elephant dude who sits in a bowl.
Oh,
I love crochet. So, J Lady, I am on board, dude. That's awesome.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. I love yarn. It's a problem for me.
All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna get a free journal.
Okay, whoever this lands on, you have to drop a comment, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching, so we know that you're here. Looks like
Anthony
the winner
Nguyen.
is
Who we got?
Anthony Nguyen.
Anthony Nguyen. Good job, Anthony.
Drop us a comment so we know you're here. We'll respond to it with the directions on how to claim your free journal. I think Kyle has something to say about the Woobles, right?
You have something to say about Woobles?
So a while ago,
It's a Wooble.
our email agency also worked with the Woobles.
Did they? Intriguing.
And it was when the Woobles were like beginning to really like hit their meteoric rise.
Yes.
And we were very jealous of their success.
Well, maybe. Now that I know the language of crochet, Heroes Journal Wooble kits, Heroes Journal crochet sets. Make it,
Seriously.
My friend Carol bought the Woobles for us. She said, we're gonna learn crochet. And then I bought a bunch of yarn and I just made my own things, and it's a problem. But
Sounds great.
And
yeah, so
if you email support the Heroes Journal with one of the products that you would like on our website, we will send one to you. You have to give us your address as well. But it's in the chat, supporttheheroesjournal.co. Email us. We'll send you some fun stuff. Address and then what you would like, and we'll send it to you.
yes, Queen Esther. I have the glow in the dark ones. No, so we bought a set of 5 of them, the spooky ones. So it came with Frankenstein, a bat, a cat, a ghost, and a penguin. And then the ghost glows in the dark. And my friend Rachel took that one. It's adorable, but it does glow in the dark.
And then you made this one from.
I mean, this is an original thing. He looks kind of like a Cthulhu, but I ran out of yarn. But he's kind of stares at me. I had the eyes already.
He kind of gives me like Zoidberg energy.
A little Zoidberg. He sits very
Little
well, and he's
Zoidberg.
kind of stares at me creepily across the room. Like Morky.
I kind of love him.
He's kind of my friend. He kind of
Yeah.
represents my inner self. I feel like just a creepy little thing that likes to watch stuff. Anyway.
Well, awesome, guys. Sorry, I had to be silent for like 20 minutes to live stream. Apparently my bathroom is fixed though, so that's good. But one thing I was going to say at the beginning, we have a ton of new heroes here in the live stream from our email send for the school community that we sent out today.
Yes.
If you're not in the school community, we have a ton of really fun stuff going on over there. We have 5 mini quests that each take about 7 days each. If you want to try that out, we're going to be adding about 2 new of those mini quests a month. So if you want to join, the link is on our like socials. You can go find them there. I'm not going to post it here right now, but
I just posted it.
oh, you did?
The
It's
school
right
link is
there.
in the chat.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff going on there. But yeah, so welcome to the new faces. Also, hello again for the faces that have been here since the beginning.
Yep.
But one thing that we do think is very important here on the live stream is that as you approach this weekend, you're gonna quest. And there's only one rule for how you're gonna quest.